to Wellington in 1975. My brother was here, and all his mates were skydivers. I went to skydiving parties, and I just had no choice. I had to start.
And tell me about it. What's the hook?
I don't know. I just once I done my first jump, that was it. It's like I was born to it. And I'm still jumping now, 38 years later. So still having fun.
Special moment, memory, places, something?
Yeah, lots of them. I remember taking Will's daughter for a tandem jump.
Good on you. And something must stick in your mind, any hairy moments or anything?
Oh yeah, mate, I had a few malfunctions, you know, but and a few emergency exits out of aeroplanes, but I just met lots of good people and still got friends from those days.
Cheers. Yes, a quick word.
Hoping to get away with it.
Ron, so tell me about how did you get into this, whereabouts?
How did I get into skydiving?
Yep.
I was working in Palmerston North at Lands and Survey, and Tony, can't remember his surname now, was working with me. He was jumping with Vince, and I heard he was a skydiver and thought, sounds good to me, I'll give that a crack. So that was back in 76. I moved there to Palmerston, and I think I started jumping probably end of 76, 77.
Any memorable moments or, highlights of your career?
It was all a highlight. It was all a highlight after university and study and what have you. It was my first taste of proper freedom. So it was fantastic. Yeah, jumping as much as I could, basically, for all that time.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
No worries. Excuse me, Murray.
Yes.
Can I have a quick word?
Yeah.
I'm just on behalf of Bill Ashworth.
Oh, you're Bill's brother-in-law?
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
Yeah, something like that. Murray, what happened? How'd you get into this?
Into skydiving?
Yeah.
How did I get into this? I don't know, I just rang up a skydiving club in 1971, and I spoke to this man who became my guru, which is Bill Ashworth, and we went from there. And I would rather talk about Bill than myself, because I think he's absolutely a magnificent guy, and he's helped a lot of people through skydiving. What qualities does he, He's generous with his time, and generous with the girls. He likes the girls and everything like that. But, no, he's just a magnificent, and he has taught a lot of people throughout his career. You should know. You're his son-in-law. That sort of thing. And I bet your wife just a minute ago.
Oh yeah.
She's lovely. Yeah, she is, isn't she? And I've heard the story.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful story.
Oh, it all comes back together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just on what about a memorable moment, or have you been special places with skydiving, or?
Yeah, I have actually. Took me to. I left in '79. I left New Zealand and done a trip with Bigfoot. We all know Bigfoot, Mark Gamble, and we travelled states in Canada, and we got on a display team. Him and I jumped in the Arctic Circle, and we think that I went 3 and I think he went 4. So we're the first New Zealanders to jump in the Arctic Circle. I think that was the highlight. It really was. We learned, met a lot of Eskimos, and it was a fun time. Can you turn that off now?
Thank you, Murray. I'll come and catch you, sir. Have I spoken to you?
No.
I'm starting to get a bit of, excuse me. Did I see another gamble somewhere?
Yeah, the bro.
Oh, okay. So Dave, how'd you get into skydiving, where and when?
Oh God, I started in Canterbury in 1973. I just seen some guys jumping at a display at a motor race meeting, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so yeah, I gave it a go.
And so did you do some pretty cool things, did you, in your skydiving career?
God, I'm still jumping. Yeah, so I've been jumping about 40 years. Yeah, it's just it's great. I love it.
That's great. Thank you, Dave. Diver, are you?
Yes.
Excuse me. Julie. Where did you get involved in this, and how and why? And
I did my first jump in Christchurch in Pudding Hill, and then I came up to Wellington in 1986. And jumped with the Wellington Skydivers Club from 1986 to 1990. We ran the National Skydiving Champs out at Hood, and then we left to the UK.
Right. So, a little while ago, but some good memories of that time that you did that?
Absolutely fantastic.
Is there a special moment, or is it just being involved, or?
Oh, it was just the atmosphere, and there was just the big sense of extended family going out skydiving every weekend and having fun, and even when the weather was too shit to skydive, still doing fun things. And convincing the Minister for Sport and Recreation to jump out of the aeroplane to launch the skydiving champs.
Oh, goodness. How much persuasion did that take?
Oh, a little bit. He wasn't sure, but but we got him across the line.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, it is for a while anyway. Who's this? Simon? Sorry, I don't know people. I'm doing this. Simon, how did you get into this skydiving, and where and why?
I started at university down in Canterbury and came up to Wellington and joined the club up here in 1985, I think. And stayed jumping till we left for the UK in 92. Really enjoyed it.
And what's it done for you, or how's that fitted into life, your skydiving?
Oh, it fitted in really well when I was a bit younger and didn't have quite as many commitments, but still, we live near the Masterton drop zone still. We still hear the jump ship grinding away to altitude on the weekends and sort of get the old twang, get the urges still. Haven't succumbed yet.
Oh, so how long have you been out of jumping?
15 years.
Okay, so you don't think it might come back, or?
I might do. Gear's still in the cupboard, so.
Excellent. Thanks, Simon. So, Brett, you're a skydiver, are you?
I am,
yeah. How did you get into this, and what was your career? Tell us briefly about that.
Got into that when I was back in late 80s at university. Got drunk at the pub with some mates of mine. Said they're going skydiving tomorrow. I said, oh, can I come too? Really enjoyed it. This is Pudding Hill in South Canterbury. Had a hiatus after that for a few years. Went to Masterton. I was absolutely crap at static line. Told me to actually go away until I grew a brain pretty much at that point. Nowadays I bring in international students in the country, so foreign students, that kind of thing. And
so what have been some memorable moments, highlights, or places you've been or something?
Best highlight was jumping into Gulawa for Marty Lloyd and the crew back in '98. Meeting Jerry Bird, jumping out of the Skyvan, doing a 16-way, not fucking it up. Seeing Patrick Pass at Taupo, jumping with him. Real sky guys, really good fun. And not embarrassed myself mostly, that's the key thing. Yeah.
Excellent, Brett. So,
Pardon?
are you a skydiver, are you?
Yes.
Have I spoken to you?
Probably not.
No, all in the faces and names are starting to... Can I ask you a quick question, George?
Yep.
Where and how did you get involved in skydiving?
A few friends wanted to do it, so we all got together and went and did our first jump, and it just went from there. That was back in about 77.
Whereabouts?
I was here in Wellington.
Yeah.
Around about 1977 we started.
Did they used to jump out near the airport? Where did you jump when you were in Wellington?
We jumped at Parapram Airport or up at Otaki.
Okay. So what, do you still jump, do you?
No, haven't done for quite some time.
So what when you come to something like this, is there a special occasion or memories that you have of that?
Oh, definitely. Seeing the photos up there, it all brings back a lot of memories. A lot of places here.
Did you travel around or mostly just around this area?
No, we used to hop in a plane and take off for the weekend, go down to Westport or Nelson or all around the country.
Excellent. Thanks, George. Have I spoken to you?
What about?
Oh, did I ask you something on camera?
Oh, I see.
I must apologise.
Yeah.
I'm getting around so many people that I can't remember everyone's faces. I'm just going to ask you a question. How, when, why skydiving? Where did that all start?
Oh, well, my skydiving career started when I was in Dunedin at university, and Maury Campbell nearly got killed doing a display in Dunedin, and so I ended up coming back to Wellington on holidays and said, I'd like to do skydiving. So it's a bit of a perverse start to it all. Ended up basically somebody nearly getting killed and me wanting to start. So it started from there.
So is that one of your most memorable parts of skydiving, is it? Or what would you, if you had to sort of comment on something about your career, what would it be?
Well, it was all pretty memorable, I suppose. I mean, the tyranny of time. You can't. I'd have to go back and look at my logbook to work out what was really interesting. But competitions, achievements, in competition and doing stuff like that. But mostly it was just getting out there and having fun. It was more a recreational thing than a competitive thing. But good fun.
Excellent. Thank you, Dave.
Mike.
I don't know anyone.
Oh, yeah. Mike Leary.
Mike Leary. Excuse me, Mike. Sorry to interrupt. How did you get involved and started in this skydiving, Mike?
1978. I was part of a group of jumpers from the railway workshops. There's about half a dozen of us. And here's one of them here, George Morgan.
Yeah, we've already done it.
Oh, you've already done it?
He said all good things too.
And yeah, went from there pretty much. I think when I did my first jump, on the aircraft that I did there were 5 static liners on that load, all went on to do over 100 jumps. So must have been something about that particular load that was meritorious.
And so you all stayed sort of friends and that? Is there something about skydivers, is there?
I suppose we were pretty like-minded, aren't we, really?
Excellent, Mike. That's great. Thank you very much. Have I spoken...
We're going to get a drink, actually.
Oh, no, wait, have I spoken to you, though?
I'm sorry. No.
You've got to speak to this guy.
I'll be back.
Oh, okay. What about you? Are you a skydiver? Debbie, are you a skydiver?
I was, many
Okay.
years ago.
Okay, well, I got to ask you.
You were club secretary once, weren't you?
I was.
Debbie, where and how do you get involved in this? When and where?
Wellington, of course.
And
Oh, look, I'm no good at this stuff. How? I don't know.
Did someone twist your arm or something to get
I think so. I think it was a deer.
And so how long were you involved? And tell me about the time that you were. Is it something special?
I married a skydiver.
That's all good then. I'll let you go, Debbie. Thank you very much. I'm just trying to think, who have I spoken to? Murray, have I spoken to you? Have I spoken to you?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I'm just asking a couple of quick questions if I could.
Certainly.
When did you get involved in this?
Well,
Skydiving.
I started skydiving in Manawatu in 1972, and it was one of those habits that never quite went away until 20 years later. So
A lot of people seem to start in Manawatu. Was that quite a popular area to do skydiving?
no reflection on Palmerston North. There's an exciting town. I think they're all students coming down to Massey. They needed something to do on the weekends.
And so, did someone persuade you to get involved, or?
No, I'd always wondered whether I would get out of the plane. And I did the first time. And it was even more difficult because I then had to wonder whether I'd ever do it again. The second one was much more of a challenge.
And did you have a long career with highlights in it or something?
I had I was a student, so lack of money and never really had enough to get into it. But the trouble with addictions is you can't walk away either. So I muddled along. 20 years.
Thank you, Murray. Excuse me, Rick, how'd you get involved in when and where in skydiving?
Oh, for God's sakes. Okay, I was in the Air Force and John Seward and Rob Benton. I knew them in the Air Force in those days, and I was a misguided youth. They dragged me away to Waipakarau one weekend, and I watched them skydiving, and they talked me into it. That was the start of it.
And how long has your career lasted, and where did it take you?
Oh, I tell you what, that first jump scared the hell out of me. I think I said something rude to them. If you think that's fun, you can stick it up your ass. 4 months later, I had my second jump, and for 15, 16 years, the rest is history,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Marty, what about you? When did you get involved in skydiving?
1970 at Bridge Park. I was watching some motor racing down the road, some sprints, and I went over the road to watch some skydiving, and I ran into the bunch of renegades, and they said, yeah, come into a jump, and 6 weeks later, all of an hour and a half's training, they threw me out the aeroplane, and I got hooked from then. But the thing that kept me really going was Bill Ashworth. He was the motivator, always the motivator. And I was addicted from then on.
Any extra highlights or something?
What's that?
A memorable moment, highlights?
Oh, the Australian record in America about 3 years ago, the 105, 109 and 112 way in the one day. That was my highlight, yeah. But there are many highlights, and the people are the thing that make it the best, yeah.
Great. Thanks, Marty. Just let me I've got to get your name tag there on this, because I'm not a skydiver, so Barb, is it?
Barbie, yeah.
Tell me about where and how you got involved.
I started in 1976, and Marty Lloyd was my jump master. Threw me out on the 29th of February. Good spotting. People around here will know what Marty's spotting was like. I ended up in a tree. But that was fantastic. Anyway, so I know a lot of the Wellington Skydivers for when they saw sense and came up to Sunny Hawks Bay and Bridge Park. And just amazing times, really amazing times, and fantastic that Bill has put this together. So, thank you, Bill.
So, is it a social thing, or is it the actual jumping? I mean, what?
Yes.
I don't know anything about it.
Everything. It's the camaraderie. It's the total absorption in what you're doing, and always trying to get better. It was fantastic. Really, really good times. Not sure I'd do it again. Too much time has passed, but fabulous times. And the people, always so good. So, as tonight shows.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. Answer his questions.
Right, Francis, sorry, I'm just... where did you get involved? Where?
I was 19 years old. I got involved because there was a bloke that I was interested in. So I thought, oh yeah, he goes skydiving. So I went out to the club rooms to have a drink with him. And then I got there and I was dragged into this training. So I went and did all the training. And you had to get your parents' permission to skydive. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll send this home to Mum and Dad. They won't sign it. And they did. So next thing I know, I'm in this bloody aeroplane, 3,000 feet above Milson Aerodrome. And that was it. Yeah, never looked back, hey.
There seems to be a bit of that socially...
I am deaf. I wear hearing aids. You have to speak a lot louder.
So other than meeting people, was there a highlight for you during your skydiving?
Skydiving. Highlights, yes, there was. I remember a skydive we did above Gisborne. It was really interesting. I was thinking about this driving down. We were in the DC3 and we got held up, so we went higher and higher, and it was a whole lot of second tier skydivers, not the top gods, and we were just getting higher and higher, and we had this big star formation that we were going to be doing, and we jumped out. We were all hypoxic by the time we got out because we'd been held up with the Gisborne airport. We jumped out and we had this formation by 10 grand, and we all just sat there looking at each other thinking, holy crap, now what? And that was a real buzz. And a few scary moments, the what if moments, like being out in the water over the Napier airfield. That was interesting, bloody miles out to sea trying to find out where to land. landed by the tank farm in Napier, just on the very, very promontory under my starlight. It was a very interesting moment, actually, considering I couldn't swim very well.
Thank you very much.
No worries,
Okay,
fantastic.
thanks, Francis.
Oh, Yonna, yeah. He's a man on a mission.
Is he?
What am I?
A man on a mission, are you?
Yes. Bill's got me organising, doing a little bit of video, Paul, so I need you to tell me a little bit about how you got started, where and when in skydiving.
Well, I was already jumping in Australia, and I came over to skydive over here in Wellington because from Sam Clark, who told me about Wellington Skydiving Club. And I came over here on a whim because I was a photo engraver by trade, and Bill was in the trade, and he said he could put me up. So I came over and I spent probably some of the best years of my life here jumping with the Wellington Skydiving Club, and met some wonderful people. And that's why, even though I did most of my jumping in Australia, I still regard this as the best time of my skydiving life. Yeah.
Comparisons between the two, you know, with Australia and...
Very similar. Very, very similar, but I've made some really good friends here, and that's why I've come over for 3 nights. I live in Tasmania now, and I've come specifically over for this to meet everybody again. And we're all in our 60s now, so it's good to see.
So, any sort of here or in Australia sort of memorable moments or something that sticks in your mind? Good or bad?
Just the jumps we had here, jumping into the DC3 jumps here with the boys. I can't think of anything offhand like that, but there was a lot of fun times. I lived in a house with Billy Ashworth and Dave Wilkins and Billy DeBoer and Vince, and then I had a house with Dave Campbell, and me and Ross Lockwood had a house, and Tony Lee, and a very good friend of mine, Tony Lee, and I met Jo Kincaid, and she was absolutely lovely. I fell in love with her. Helen Corkle, another one I fell in love with, and they've gone. You know, it's just nice to see people again and alive. It's just wonderful to see them alive.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul.
Cheers.
Skydiver? Oh, okay. Trevor, have I spoken to you? No. I don't think I have. Come over here, Trevor, sorry.
I should have mentioned your name.
Trevor, just tell me a little bit about how you got into skydiving, where and when, and...
Well, I always had an irresponsible streak in me, and skydiving I thought might be a good outlet. So in 1973 I went to a club meeting, which at the time was held in the Karori Hall, and did a course, a static line course with Bill Ashworth was the instructor, and he ultimately dispatched me in March of 73 at Otaki. My skydiving career was very unspectacular, but I did. My career was more oriented towards the commercial aspect of it, and I ended up training 9,700 first jump students, which is quite a few over a period of years. And I did my last jump in 1994 in Australia. I've lived in Australia since 1989, and I suggested this gathering, this event, to Bill Ashworth several months ago, probably about 6 months ago. And here I am.
Great.
Oh, one other thing.
Yes.
I have the dubious distinction of being the oldest person here.
You want to let us know how old?
A few months off 70.
Oh, very good. Trevor, thank you very much. Have a good night. Excuse me, sir. Have I had a word with you?
Yeah. You're going to ask me questions or what?
Yeah, I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Nick, how did you get involved in where, when, and skydiving?
Wellington Skydivers, right early on, 1971 or 72, when Ian Drinkwater was the CSO, and Mel Kirk, your flatmate, so he took me into it. So I can at least say that the two founders of Wellington Skydivers got me going on this.
What is about it that Wellington Skydivers, what made it what it was, do you think?
I don't know. Maybe it's because of the big city, people with money, say a lot of the people coming jumping did have the money. I think it might have been it was so hard to get jumps. We had to travel so much that you couldn't take it casually. You had to really work at it and take it seriously when you get your chance.
Highlights for you? Any memorable moments, places?
There's so many. Like the first jump was a case of go. What, me? Go now? Oh, okay. Then the first ram air was I was one of the early converts to progressing onto ram airs quickly. And there's all those competition jumping and travelling around the country and jumping at Bridge Bar and things like that.
Great. Nick and Remy, thank you very much. Craig, how did you get involved in Wellington in skydiving rather?
Skydiving, I got in there by chance. My brother came home one night and said, do you want to go and do a one-jump parachute course because we can't get enough people to go along in this scup in the Club Scouts? And I went, yeah, I'll go along. So I went along and I did a jump with Ian Drinkwater at the Associated Parachute School.
What, how long was your career and is it still going? Have you got some memorable moments, have you? Or?
Yeah, well, I ended up going to the World Champs in '85 with Steve Foster and Jenny Millington and Jyro, and we came 6th. So that's probably the highlight of my skydiving career. I've had a 10-year break and I've just got back into it in the last 2 years, and I'm doing 20 jumps a year, and it's perfect. It's just how I like it. With some old friends about my age, and we're just doing some good jumps, and great.
Thank you, Craig.
Cheers.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I don't think you have, no.
Good. Can I just grab 2 minutes of your time to ask you a question? How did you get involved in skydiving?
I got involved after talking to a brother of a friend of mine who was doing it way back in 1965.
Wow.
And that's when I started with the Manawatu Club. So we met up with Bill Ashworth then. He was based in Auckland. And there was a group of us from down in Wellington who used to travel to Palmerston every weekend. And then the Manawatu Club became mainly Wellington guys, and that's when we decided it was time we formed our own club. And that's with Drinkwater and myself and a few others and that, Greg Tansley. We decided to get into it, and it just went from there.
I understand the Wellington Club, you had to travel pretty much all the time anyway, didn't you?
Definitely.
So, did that make it, do you think?
I think it did in a way, because there wasn't much here to do as far as jumping goes. But what Ian missed out on his speech was that on a Friday night, we used to meet in the lounge bar of the old St George Hotel up here at the end of Willis Street, have a few beers and say, what are we going to do this weekend, guys? And that's where it happened. Sometimes we used to hop on the bike out at Wellington Airport Friday night and head down to Christchurch. Yeah, or get in the car and drive to Auckland. All this we're crazy, man.
Excellent, Paul. Thank you very much.
Everywhere.
Yes. Have a good night.
He's keeping it going now.
What's your name?
Marcus.
Marcus who?
Lundon.
So Marcus, how did you get involved and when and where?
I work for Marty for Wellington Skydivers, so I jumped attendance.
He's got almost twice as many jumps as I have now. Yeah. Who took Harriet? Who jumped with Harriet, my daughter?
Oh, was that me? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, probably. Well, it's hard to recognise people when you're in Sydney.
Yeah,
so
I haven't got my jumpsuit on, so...
Oh, so just tell me about your highlights, your career and that sort of thing.
I don't know, lots of highlights. Career, long career, still jumping, loving it, so it's good.
Excellent. Yeah. John, I don't think I've spoken to you.
G'day Barry, how are you?
I'm pretty good. When did you get involved with skydiving? When and where?
1963, early in Australia.
Oh, okay. What's your link with, or how did you start a link with Wellington?
Because in about 1965, 66, I became president of the Parachute Federation and was that for about 10 years. So everything that Ian was talking about earlier was happening in my watch. So I knew all these guys.
So where do you live now?
Here in Wellington.
Oh, okay. And you jump here in Wellington?
No, didn't ever jump in Wellington. All over New Zealand, but never in Wellington.
So what are some highlights or memorable moments in that time?
Probably far too many to try to recount immediately. But one Marty and I were just talking earlier, the first world 10-man parachute meet, 10-man star, 1971 or 2 in Masterton, never been repeated. It was a huge international event. It was good.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Have a good night.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
okay. Just, Phil, how'd you get involved and when and where?
Okay, I got involved in skydiving in 1973 in Christchurch. My friend Dave Gamble talked me into it, and I did a few fairly ropey static line jumps down there, and eventually, after a lot of trying, got onto freefall. And then I got a teaching job up here in Wellington, and came here and just absolutely loved the club here. Had a great time. Got out of teaching, but stayed skydiving.
So I think you said up on stage you didn't really have a spectacular career, but any sort of memorable moments or places?
Yes. My most memorable jump, and I think Ian mentioned it before, was at about 1981. Murray Andersen, Andy Sanders, myself, and Rose Stewart, who's now my wife, did a display jump into Athletic Park, and the upper winds were about 60 knots, and it was one of the scariest jumps I've ever done in my life. We all got in. Rose managed to smash her way through the boundary fence at the basin and break a couple of legs, but we survived. But yeah, it really focused the mind, seeing that little wee patch of green way down there behind us. So yeah, it was fun.
Jyro, is it? Tell me about how you got involved.
Well, I'm too drunk to do this interview, and I'll be really embarrassed in the morning. I'll just fucking ruin it off, so I just started.
Did you have a good time?
I'm fucking loving it. This has been great. Okay, all right, so here's the deal. I started jumping with Wellington Skydivers. I was fucking 15 years old. These were all my superheroes.
Anything else you'd like to add?
There's probably lots he'd like to add. And I had the hots for... oh, no, that's not it.
Excuse me. Mark, quick word. Stay here, I won't be getting. Hey, Bill. Tell about, the highlights of your career so far.
The highlights of career would be probably display jumping into Hawke's Bay, Santa Claus jumps, free fall, four-way, and learning lots about the people around me that have taught me good things, and meeting the people all from all around the world. It's fascinating. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry, carry on. Sue Devereux.
Yes, that's
How did you get started? Where were you involved?
Well, apparently I was skydiving from 1996. Someone just told me. No, that can't be right. 1986 till about 1990, because I couldn't remember what years it was.
Whereabouts?
I did my first jump finally in the back of Lundon, I think it was, and then I did a couple of paraparam, and my first jump actually was in Blenheim. We used to fly over the ditch in the 180 with power for the weekend and go to Blenheim, and yeah, so I did my first jumps there. I had one jump on a roundie, and then the squares were all in vogue, and the club managed to have enough to have students on them. So we did that, and I actually teamed up with Power, and we had 2 boys. I've still got them. He left. He's still flying, working out National Park last I heard, but soon to be going to Aussie, I think. Yeah, and I just...
Why did you get involved?
Why did I
Why,
get...
yeah.
A friend of mine, Marilyn Pearson, who's still in Wellington, but I couldn't get hold of her for tonight, she was doing skydiving me along, and I quite like the parties and I quite like the skydiving, so I stayed.
So highlight or low light or memorable moment?
There's lots of little snippets of stuff. Probably the scariest was when I had a one-man down plane going on, and life got a bit busy at about 500 feet. So I still had a one-man down plane going on. Managed to, basically got out, pulled the chute, nothing happened. Crap, better do something about this. Pulled the reserve, and the main decided to pop at the same time. And of course, because it went into a down plane, the main wouldn't release, even though the 3 rings had gone. So there was an awful lot of shaking and webbing and such like went on until I got rid of that, and it was quite a hard landing downwind, but nothing worse than a big bruise on my calf. That was probably the most memorable thing. I think the thing that I got most out of from the skydiving was just travelling around. Because I was teamed up with Power, I tended to go wherever he was flying, and of course those boys just took the plane wherever they wanted to, him and Dave Hall and the others. And so I never got up and did the Gisborne run with them, but I used to go and meet them in Hastings a lot, and over in the Wairarapa, of course, with Mac and Co, and quite a bit in Palmy, and quite a bit early on down in Blenheim. Can't for the life of me remember the instructor's name down there, but he was great. So got to travel around a lot and do a lot of driving. And like everybody, a lot of sitting on drop zones waiting, playing drinking games or card games or